Hey everyone, welcome back. I know it's been a long time since I made a video. I'm thankful for all the comments and wishes that you guys gave to me. With that said, let's dive right into it. This is a long story, but please don't friend zone me, too, just because I'm long-winded. I'm in the Netherlands on a work trip, and in the evening, I find myself alone in a hotel with nothing to do. Like any self-respecting gay man, reading or watching TV seem like pretty undefying pastimes when you've got free time. So, why not compulsively throw myself on the grinder for hours and maybe risk my life meeting some weirdo? I start chatting with this cute, nice young guy. He's really hot. He lives fairly far from my hotel, so we decide to meet halfway to get to know each other. It's about 5 kilometers on foot, which I happily do because I like walking around new cities, not knowing the local geography. I imagine pubs and bars, and instead I find myself in a rather lonely and gloomy part of town. We meet, and he's much better looking than in the photos. But if on chat he was friendly and nice, in person he's pretty reserved and unsociable, which I chalk up to Dutch stiffness. I talk to him, and he replies in monosyllables, with no engagement whatsoever. The emotional and physical effect of deprivation my parents raised me with has produced me an insecure egocentric who has to be liked by the other person at any cost. If he likes me, my unconscious suggests I'd heal my narcissistic wound and finally be worthy of my mom's love. I perform my personal mating dance. He's sufficiently smitten. Out of nowhere, he invites me to his place, and I accept. We get to this place, another 5 kilometers away, right in the countryside. My phone stops getting a signal. I don't know if it's a lack of coverage or I ran out of credit. The house is nothing like I imagined. It looks more like the house of an old lady who collects dollies. He tells me the villa we're in was inherited from his grandmother, and he's been living there alone for several years. He shows me what he's cooking in the kitchen, a nauseating watery stew that I hope he won't offer me. He takes me back into the living room. We sit on the couch and he loosens up a bit. Between one chat and another, he tells me he's a fashion designer and that he produces the fabrics he uses himself, with the help of a 3D printer, a super innovative technique. I tell him I know a Dutch designer who uses the same technique. Her name is Iris Van Herpen. Pause. He starts foaming at the mouth. He begins telling me that this very Van Herpen stole his ideas, and he wants to sue her. He pulls out DVDs of his fashion shows and comments on every single piece. Meanwhile, showing me YouTube videos of the established designer, shows with the supposed copies of his work. If Van Herpen's models look like ethereal, graceful works of art walking down the runway, his models wearing his creations look like runaway girls on their third walk of shame of the week. I don't tell him this, and on the contrary, I nod along sympathetically to his megalomaniac statements. As I resign myself to the idea that nothing's going to happen, he kisses me. One of the worst kisses of my life, surely a harbinger of far worse performances. I try to guide him and improve things, but nothing. He just can't do it. Like your grandpa when you try to teach him how to use email. He stops and tells me he'll be right back. He goes upstairs to the second floor. 10 minutes go by and he's still nowhere to be seen. I approach and shout, "Everything okay up there?" "Yes, yes," he says. Could it be that he wants me to go upstairs and I'll find him naked, bent over? I ask him, "Should I come up?" And he says, No, wait." I wait. Another 20 minutes pass. Is he taking a shower? Doing anal cleansing? Yet I don't hear any water running. After a while, much darker possible scenarios start to crowd in. Ones everyone with a bit of common sense would think of if they found themselves in an isolated stranger's house. Is he putting on a raincoat to protect himself from the blood once he chops me up? Is he sharpening an awl with which to carve red rum into my belly after chaining me to the fireplace? I decided to make a run for it. If the idea of being murdered by a stranger had just barely surfaced, the doubt turns into certainty when I realize that the door we came in through is locked. Oh my god, I'm going to die. Go to the kitchen where there's another door, and that one is locked too. Oh crap. I go back to the living room and meanwhile scan the place for possible escape routes. In a dramatic flash forward, I picture myself throwing an armchair through a window and then jumping out and running away, or finding a flashlight in the bookcase to send Morse code distress signals. After about 50 minutes, he comes back downstairs, impassive. "I want to fuck you," he adds without any emotion. I've completely lost the desire. I'm generally convinced he's going to kill me. I tell him I have to go home and that it's late. He replies that I can't go home now. He wants to fuck. I tell him he took too long and that I have to go back to my hotel, which is 10 kilometers away, and it's pitch dark by now. He sighs. I ask him to let me connect to his Wi-Fi since my phone has no signal, so I can follow the route on Google Maps. He points to a modem blinking under a chair. The password is underneath. I crouch down to look for the password on the sticker on the back of the modem. After a few seconds, I realize I'm bent over with him being behind me. While trying to type the password, I keep glancing at him as he watches me slyly from the couch. My hands are shaking, and at a certain point, I see him lean forward from the couch to grab something behind a piece of furniture. An object I can't see, and then I decide must be a weapon to knock me out. I jump up, grab a lamp, and brandishing it, tell him, "Let me out of here." He looks at me surprised. "If you want to go out, go." "I can't," I tell him. "The door is locked." He looks astonished at the statement. "Follow me," he says. I'm now certain I'm going to die. I keep the lamp with me. He looks at me impassively, as if this were perfectly normal. I follow him, and we go into the kitchen where the nauseating stew reigns supreme, and he tells me the keys are there. The light in the room is off. He walks in without turning it on, and opens a drawer, and I clearly hear the clinking of cutlery. Oh my god, he wants to attack me with a kitchen knife. I suddenly turn on the light and keep brandishing the lamp. He looks at me coldly and takes the keys from the cutlery drawer. We head toward the door, and as soon as I'm outside, I run like hell, with the lamp in my hand. It takes me 2 hours to get back to the hotel. As soon as I enter my room, I open up my laptop, and since his first and last name were visible in the fashion show he tortured me with, I block him on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. Years later, the encounter unsettles me so much that every now and then I Google the city name plus the fashion designer, the killer. Sure that sooner or later he's gonna kill someone. I'm left with two questions. What did he do alone on the second floor for 50 minutes? Was he actually preparing the post-coital crime scene? Did he take a Viagra and wait for it to kick in? Was the grandmother not dead? And did he knock her out with chloroform? What was he trying to grab from behind the piece of furniture? A weapon? A portable Wi-Fi hotspot for my dead phone? A dildo? Please, let's not meet again. Grinder date. Hello everyone, Major Lurker here, but I decided to tell my story on Reddit to those who don't know me. I've scrolled Reddit for years now, but I've never actually set up an account, so here I am. I was 11 the first time I saw him. I had just gotten out of school, and I remember being hot and tired, and still excited because I had chore money in my backpack. $8 and some change, crumpled into my bag next to a mechanical pencil I found on the floor. That high quality shit that was enough for a Happy Meal. Nuggets, fries, a little toy I'd pretend I didn't care about, and a Sprite. Heaven. The McDonald's was only a few blocks from the school and up the hill from my apartment. My mom wasn't crazy about me walking around alone, but she also worked 2 jobs and couldn't pick me up most days. If I got home before 5 and didn't talk to strangers, she didn't ask too many questions. I kept my phone on 50% brightness to save battery, pretended like I was grown, and slid my earbuds in like I had somewhere important to be. That McDonald's was my little kingdom. Booth by the window, shoes kicked off under the table, watching YouTube Vine compilations on my crack phone while sipping a Sprite like it was champagne. I had just discovered Tumblr that year, as we were posting Melanie Martinez fan edits and thinking I understood what the word aesthetic meant. I was 11 going on 20, or at least I thought I was. That's probably why I didn't think it was weird when he sat near me. He didn't work there, I knew that much. He was too old to be hanging around during school hours and didn't have on a uniform. But the first time I assumed he was waiting for someone. He had on this navy hoodie, sleeves pushed up, and a raggedy backpack next to him, like he also just got out of school. He looked maybe 17, 18 at the oldest, with a face like he'd start growing into it. Tall, white boy, deep voice. He looked like one of those SoundCloud emo rapper dudes. "You draw?" he asked, nodding at my sketchbook. I shrugged, trying to act unbothered. "Kinda," I said. "Not like for real, for real." "You got talent," he said, and I felt my chest puff up just a little. Nobody ever said stuff like that to me, especially not older boys at school. Most of the guys my age were busy with whatever the popular trends were back then. This one, he looked at me in the eye when he talked, made me feel seen. The next time, he was already there. Same booth, same backpack, same easy smile when I walked in. "You again?" he said. "You following me or something?" I laughed a little too loud. He always knew what to say to make me feel grown. He'd ask about school, about my drawings, about music. Then he started asking other stuff, like what my background was, what kind of guys I liked. Said I didn't talk like the other black girls he knew, whatever that meant. I didn't even know how to respond to that one. But still, I came back, week after week, sometimes twice a week if I had extra change, and he was always there, like he was planned. The first few weeks, the conversations felt like a secret game. He'd show up at McDonald's like clockwork, sometimes early afternoon, sometimes after school, and we talk about everything. But what I was really thinking about, I liked how he made me feel special, like I was a rare thing, not just a kid with a happy meal and a sketchbook, but someone worth paying attention to. When he asked for my number, I thought, this is it. I'm officially grown. I still remember the moment I handed him my phone, watching him punch in the digits. It felt thrilling, like I was stepping into a world I wasn't supposed to know about yet. My fingers brushed the screen, hesitated for a second, then I pressed send on the first text I ever wrote to him. "Hey, it's me." His reply came almost immediately. "You cute. You're always gonna be my favorite artist." The first text stayed with me for days. I showed it to my best friend like it was a badge of honor. "He thinks I'm cool," I told her, my voice a little higher than usual. "He really listens." She shrugged, told me to be careful, but I didn't want to hear it. Middle school kids always try to act like they're grown. Anyway, everybody's pretending. I was just pretending better. Sometimes he'd ask me stuff that felt off, but he always said it was a joke, so I played along. Like out of nowhere, he'd be like, "Do you see the N-word? Be real," or "What would you do if someone called you that at school?" And then one day he asked, "So can I get an N-word pass? You cool like that? Right?" I remember laughing, but not because it was funny, more like I didn't know what else to do. Then he hit me with, "I'll trade you $5 and a Sprite if you be my personal slave for a day." And when I froze a little, he was like, "Chill, I'm only joking." Damn, you're sensitive. He'd sometimes try to talk hood around me, too, saying stuff like, "on gang" or "yo, you trying to wild out?" in this fake deep voice that didn't even sound like him. At the time, I didn't know what the hell he was on, but looking back now, he was testing me. The text started innocent. "What are you drawing now? Did you finish your homework? You watching that new Strangers Things?" Even sent me links to music playlists he said reminded him of me. But over time, things got a little different, a little heavier. He'd add stuff that made me pause, questions about my body, if it started changing yet, who I liked, if anyone had kissed me. I felt weird, but also proud to answer, like I was a grown woman sharing secrets with a friend, sometimes being funny. It was part of the game. I was learning the rules. I wanted to be in on it. After all, kids at school were trading stories about boys and crushes like it was some kind of competition. I didn't want to be the only one who'd never been talked to like that. But even then, there were moments when my stomach flipped. When he asked if I started growing hair yet, or sent me a picture of his hand gripping a pillow. I don't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. I didn't want to lose him. And besides, I thought I was grown enough to handle it. I thought I knew what I was doing. Still, I kept going to McDonald's, even on days I didn't have much money. Sometimes I'd sit farther away, pretending not to notice him watching me. I told myself I was just being cautious. I told myself I was in control. But the truth was, it was getting harder to breathe when he was around. Like the air was thicker, heavier, and I didn't know how to make it stop. It wasn't like I told my mom about any of it. I knew she wouldn't understand. She was a busy work mom with bills, with trying to keep everything together, and I was supposed to be a kid, not dealing with this stuff. So I kept it all inside, tucked away under layers of laughs and texts and drawings. Looking back now, I can see the signs I missed. The way his smile sometimes didn't reach his eyes. The way his questions stopped being about me and started being about control. But back then, I was 11, and I thought I was grown, and that was my mistake. I thought blocking his number would end it. When my mom found the text, she didn't scream or curse like I thought she would. She just stared at me, emotionless. Then she said real quiet, "You blocked that boy. Don't answer. Don't go back there. Understand me?" I nodded. She didn't say anything else, just walked out the room and left me sitting there with my heart pounding and my phone locked in her hand. I told her I'd stop going to McDonald's, and for a while, I did. I stayed home after school, watched anime reruns on my tablet, sketched in silence. My bestie kept texting me to hang out, but I kept saying no. I wanted to be good. I really did. But something about the quiet made me feel itchy. I missed the way he made me feel sane, like I wasn't some awkward kid with Velcro sneakers. I missed the attention, even if the words were weird sometimes, even if the questions made my stomach twist. So one Friday, when my mom had a double shift, I walked back to the McDonald's. I told myself I wasn't going to talk to him. I'd just sit, eat, then leave. That was it. I had $10 from babysitting my cousin the weekend before. I ordered a Happy Meal, even though I told myself I wasn't a little kid anymore. It just felt safe, familiar. He was already inside. Same hoodie, same old backpack, same smile, but it didn't look soft this time. It looked sharp. He watched me sit down in the booth by the window, like he'd been waiting. I thought he'd maybe give me a nod from across the room. Instead, he walked straight over and slid in next to me. Not across, right there on the same side, his body pressed against mine. I stiffened, staring at the tray in front of me, my hands shaking a little as I opened my tiny milk jug. "You've been avoiding me," he said, low and flat. I tried to laugh. "Nah, I've just been busy, homework and stuff." He didn't laugh back. Instead, his leg pressed harder against mine, and I could feel how much taller, how much bigger he was. He was taking up all the space. I suddenly felt how small my arms were, how my hoodie sleeves still bunched up to the wrists because I hadn't hit that growth spurt yet. I wasn't grown. I wasn't even close. He leaned in, hot-ass breath hitting my face. "I thought you were different," he said. "I thought you could handle grown-up things. But you're just like the rest of them little girls. Scared." My whole body went still. Then, without warning, he put his hand on my thigh. hard. He gripped it tight, his fingers digging in like he was trying to leave a mark. I winced, but I didn't say anything. My whole brain just shut off. He wasn't looking at me anymore, just staring straight ahead, his fingers still pressing into the soft part above my knee. "I thought you were actually mature," he said, almost like he was sad. "Guess I was wrong." I don't even remember standing up. I just remember the sound of the tray clattering to the floor, my fries spilling under the table, the little toy bouncing out of the box and rolling near his foot. I didn't stop to grab it. I didn't look back. I walked out the front door like I had somewhere to be, then ran the second my feet hit the sidewalk. I didn't cry until I got home. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my friend. I just went straight to my room, curled under the blanket, and felt my thigh throbbing where his fingers had been. After that, I didn't go anywhere but school and home. Even walking past that McDonald's made my stomach twist. That Friday was the last time I tried to act grown. It was the last time I let myself believe I was in control. Looking back now, he saw me alone. He saw how eager I was to be taken seriously, how easy it was to plant compliments like seeds and watch them grow into something he could use. And I gave him room. I let him sit next to me. I laughed when he said creepy things. I answered texts I didn't know how to read right. But I was 11. I just knew I wanted to feel special, and he knew exactly how to use that. I think about that grip on my thigh more than I want to admit, not because it hurt, but because it changed something in me. That moment snapped the fantasy clean in half. I wasn't grown. I was a little girl in a hoodie too big and a heart too soft to carry the weight he put on it. I remember how fast the fear came rushing in, how fake all the flirting felt after that. I remember the silence afterward, the kind that just sticks to you. Now that I'm 21, I catch myself watching girls like I used to be, sitting at McDonald's, earbuds in, doodling on napkins, thinking they've got it all figured out. And I want to tell them, baby, you don't. That's not your fault. It's his. The older boy who keeps showing up where you feel safe. The one who talks to you like you're different, like you're smarter than everyone else, like he's doing you a favor just by paying attention. That boy doesn't think you're special. He thinks you're easy to fool. I'm not ashamed of being that little girl anymore. I was soft and bright and curious, and he mistook all that for permission. But I'm angry for her. I wish somebody had caught me walking into that McDonald's and told me to go home. I wish I'd have believed my mom the first time. I wish I'd known that grown men should never, ever have been paying that much attention to a kid. To the high school boy who saw a little girl and thought she was something to play with, let's not ever meet again. I want to thank you all for listening. I know it's been a long time, but I'm going to try to pump out videos. And as always, I appreciate you listening. I love you all. And as always, stay depressed.